Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. We got Matthew, Patti in the house tonight. Here he comes. There you are. I had to put us on. They were going to cut us off.
Yeah, that's okay. So, I found out how to do it.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. So I just turned it on. I agree. I just said hello, good evening, good afternoon, good night. But let me make sure that we're good.
Yeah. So
let's see here. It takes a little bit. All right. Let's see what we got.
He's on. Good.
Now we got 6 people in the house. Yeah, they're just starting to fill in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna check the sound. Yep. Hello, Carrie Verdon. Ivanya's in the house. That's Tasmania, Elfie. Mira Ginsburg. Carrie Sanders. Paula Guthrie. All right, I'm going to share it into the Soulogy network, and then we'll start it.
Awesome.
Diane Carmichael. All right, let's see here. Yeah, we're starting to get adjusted with this Hawaii time. Oh my God, I can't believe I kept messing up. Well, I have New York time on the computer, so it was showing, after midnight. So I said, well, I know it's not that day; it's the next day. But it was the same day. But it was the next day for me. So
yeah, it's crazy stuff.
Sometimes you just got to throw your hands up in the air.
You do.
There's nothing you can do about it. It is what it is. Okay, so yeah, because this is a good time for the Down Under, and also morning time in Europe. So we're be able to diversify the crowd, the majority of the crowd, a little bit, and get off the straight USA time. So this is good. It's a good opportunity. Good. I got a couple of other people over there down under that I want to get on here. So the time actually works very good being over here in Hawaii.
Yeah, it's almost like drive time over here. So it's 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock on Eastern Standard Time here. So it's getting close to it.
Yeah, very cool. And I'm like 3.5 hours ahead of you, or 3 hours. So let me formally roll the show out. So I see a couple of new names. Diane Carmichael, she's in Minnesota. Katarina Dalmore, Paula Borg. My name's Todd Medina. This is the Soulogy channel, and we are going to be debuting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year by a handheld app, beginning with one channel, become multiple channels on 11/11 at 11:11 a.m. Hawaii time. So we're going to bring Matthew in on there. He's going to be featured among many other people. This is SoulSpeaks 5D. Today we're having a conversation with Matthew Patti. And he's been on here before. He's been on Jeff Cloud's program that was on the Soulogy network for quite a while. He was on there a couple of times. Very good responses. Kauai's in the house. Milana's in the house. Bo James, Angie Hansen. So welcome back, my brother. I know it's been a hide and seek for a while, but at least we finally hooked up.
Yeah, it has.
So you were saying that you went to Bali a couple of weeks ago, or for a couple of weeks, right?
Yes.
You just recently went. I know you've been coming out with some good stuff, and actually some videos, some short videos. I was watching some of that, 2 different ones. Today, as always, this is a platform for whoever our guest is, or whoever they may be. Matthew wanted to pick these subjects tonight: awakening 5D genetics, and conscious superpowers, building a bridge to a 5D reality. I thought that was a great topic. So I'm gonna hand that over to you and let you start that out.
It's just been coming up so clearly, and that's why I took a little sabbatical to Bali, and just needed to push the refresh button and actually say there's something new and more that wants to come in. And the work that you're doing, Todd, and bringing so many people together, there's so much information out there. How do we integrate it? That's the idea. How do we integrate it when everything seems still to be attained or reached? That means whether we need to move through time. And so that's where I've started been thinking about this 5D energy and consciousness that we've all been immersed in, intellectualizing and conversing with, and wanting to tap the vein of more and more as a living, breathing embodiment of who we are.
Yeah.
And so, you know, our physiology was one conversation, our biology, but quite often we were forgetting our neurology. We're forgetting our neural pathways, and our brain being this supercomputer that really is calling us online to 5D plus, you know?
Yeah, I think that's where the conversion or the integration occurs. It's the human brain, because you got like what we call the subconscious over here, or ethereal mind, or whatever, higher mind, and then over here the conscious mind. But in the middle there's this organic / galactic / cosmic human, you know, it's all this, it's beautiful. But I think you're right. You know, you brought up a good point. Two things. One is the rate of information coming in, and it's coming in so quickly. Use the word embody, and it's like there's a new way of learning, and that brain that you're speaking of is having some incredible things happen in there, such as pineal gland opening, pituitary, energy moving back and forth between the two hemispheres. And, you know, we got to understand, I would think it only makes sense that we're dealing with something bigger than it was. You know what I mean? So, yeah, how do we know we're taking this information in? How do we know we're getting it, you know?
It's a great question. Really good. Let me start by framing, if I can, that, you know, we are receiving cosmic radiation every day. And as the heliosphere and the magnetopause, these layers around the Earth, around this celestial body that we inhabit, as that starts to change, more information is allowed through those filters, previously set up divinely and, you know, humanly to orchestrate or protect us from advancing so quickly, so we don't get these huge rushes and spikes in evolution, and we don't actually go through the spiritual growth that we are here to do. So we're receiving and being barraged by lots of gamma waves, lots of solar radiation all the time, which is impacting our DNA. And so when it influences our DNA, yes, of course, we are unhinging and unwinding ourselves from past realities, which then may feel like we are living on two timelines or multiple timelines if we feel split. And a lot of people have been mentioning that. So in effect, your brain is having to holographically process multiple timelines there, i.e. multiple realities at the same time consciously. You see what I mean? So as we do that, our body is quite often the last to come online.
Yeah,
because we're still trapped in the past. So as we're dealing with emotions are the outcome or the byproduct of events. And as we're saying, you know, these emotions that I'm feeling and these memories, which are just clusters of chemistry produced by events and how we've experienced them. So this is why the pituitary gland is called the master gland. And so we can tap that and allow energy to move through the body, this Kundalini awakening, this dragon, this real emphasis on allowing the body to purge the old and to come online to the new, actually invigorates the brain. And when it invigorates the brain, we need the call is to be more conscious of our thoughts, our intentions, and what emotions we're stapling or mapping to those, because we're rewiring our neurology. We have the capacity to rewire our neurology consciously with the solar radiation and the upgrades that we are, by virtue of being here, experiencing.
Yeah. It's like, you know, it's like getting like this really cool man toy, like this vehicle, this vehicle that you could drive down the road, climb mountains with, go into the water, and it turns into a boat. Maybe it flies. And it's been like, you know, something that we all had in common. But it was kind of wild too, because it kind of like do anything at once. You know, it would go down roads you weren't necessarily wanting to go down. But now it's like, oh my God, you know, like this whole other aspect came in where we're like the manager, and we're like you said, consciously going, okay, wait a minute, wait a minute, I can control this thing. And not only does it do those 3 or 4 different things, but it does 3 or 4 million different things.
Yes.
And that involves other frequencies beyond visible light, other dimensions, all different types of what we would once refer to as supernatural occurrences or episodes, divine intervention, that type of thing. So, yeah. And what's amazing to me is that we have the capacity to actually bring this stuff in at a faster pace, a wider berth every day, like you said, and actually be able to get to it quicker. And I think that's where I was going with it earlier too, was like, I mean, how do we know we're getting this? I mean, it's like, what's the best thing to do? Right.
Well, really, we need to, again, go back to thinking to bring our bodies online consciously is about the thought, the intention, and the emotions. But when we're receiving all this information and these biological upgrades, we can be feeling flat and exhausted. We can be feeling elated. We can be feeling sociable or extroverted. And then we can be feeling very introverted. These are just all these processes that are taking shape and changing who we are. And we are evolving back to a higher sentient form. Yeah. And so I love how you've said there about capacity, because as all these structures around the world, the religions and the governments and the education, all these, heavy, dogged or dogma-filled systems start to unwind, what actually unwinds with that is the encoding within our DNA, the old plugs and chemistry that's been applied to it by our thoughts and our feelings. And so as that unwinds, all of a sudden we're now like, more information is coming to me. I don't know how to process it. Well, that's where you can journal it, or you can have conversations. And this is why this platform is brilliant for it, because the more people, the more that people speak into the field, the new information, regardless of its level of bandwidth yet and its level of truth, it will find a new form. And that's what it's doing in mass consciousness. It's finding a new structure.
Yeah, that's and like so that. Yeah, that's like that part of the toy, the man toy, adult toy that you discover. Like, oh my God, this is the capacity of it. I want to ask you too. Keep going, but I wanted to say, is it the institutions unraveling, making it easy on us, or is it us doing the shadow work, us doing the inner work, us walking further into our divinity, grasping the truth, enabling the truth, embodying the truth, and then it's having the mirror effect on the collective, or one way or the other, we're reflections of each other. So
absolutely,
and that's an interesting point which you bring up, because that's an interesting point which you bring up, because I see so many people still in light worker circles giving away their power to oh, Trump is right, oh, Trump is wrong, oh, this, oh, that. It doesn't matter. That's all just a storyline to keep that consciousness in motion. It doesn't matter who it is. I don't trust any of them. I trust me and you.
Good. I love that. And there's the answer, because I'm the same. And, coming off some of my mastermind calls, it's keep readdressing and reaffirming to the self. We are evolving consciously, because through free will, we are choosing something different now. And we have the cosmos at our side. We have, gamma radiation and solar and all these new informations that are encoding the entire celestial plane on Earth to wake up and to trigger and to fire off those little nucleotides within our being to come online. And so you're right. All of these systems around us are reshaping and deprogramming through the consciousness of humanity. And that becomes the hive mind is now going online. So the super brain becomes higher functioning to its full capacity.
So the AI factor, if you will, and it's all the same God substance, but I'm just saying, let's just say the frequency out there, let's say the 1%, call whatever you want to. You could refer to that in any environment, in any circle, work, family, community, whatever. Let's say that, because that frequency does not have a pure love intention. And so the great thing about this is we don't have to protest or boycott or anything. We just, like you said, just keep talking about it, keep putting it out there, because the truth, the template, the blueprint is actually being written as we give into that energy instead of saying, hey, who am I going to go vote for? Or, hey, who am I going to go protest for or against or whatever? And it's all incumbent upon ourselves. And it's freaking beautiful, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we hold a vibratory light that AI cannot hold through a synthetic form, even regardless of how evolved it is. It's a synthetic form of vibratory light. So I love that. And so wherever we place our intention is where we create, and it's happening faster and faster and faster. And you would be experiencing this, 24 hours, dare I say it, is a long time now. Like a lot happens in 24 hours. And we might wake up miserable or feeling, off kilter or slightly off axis. Within minutes, longest within hours, we can shift that reality because we are online consciously at a higher framework. We're creating that template. That's essentially what we're doing.
Yeah, and it's amazing too because the way I look at it is this. I had a thing with the trees today, and they kind of explained it too about how the seed was planted by this very special branch that had embodied the whole tree, being the oversoul, rooted to the earth and such, and it was this intense transmission. But my point is, it's like the species is going from one species to another. It's like we went through the evolution they talked about, and I'm sure there was some degree of truth to it. If you go back to the Bible, even or any sacred book, they talk about like a cow was born. There was a spotted tree. Spots came out on the cow. I mean, we've got examples of this all over the world.
Yes.
But my point is that this species is like persevered. It has gone through all this stuff. We have collectively endured and persisted and overcome, and now. That's what you said earlier about the galactic and angelic and divine support that we have. I believe that we created that by the sheer will and determination not to go away, man. This is an exciting period, and then the wild card is that whole quantum thing coming in now, where we literally have these supernatural powers, and you got people going to Bali for 2 weeks as a priority. You got me following a path many people are following, doing stuff that doesn't make sense, and there's magic and soulgasmic explosions going off everywhere as a result of these people doing that. More and more people are.
Yes, and if we and I love that, absolutely love that. So the neural pathways in the brain, the mapping in our biology is that of the universe, is that of the entire cosmos, as you know. So as it's changing. Because pure thought is where we're arising to. We're moving and merging back into unity with pure thought. That's 5D, unity consciousness. So as pure thought arises and expresses itself, new neural pathways within the cosmos and between stars, new information is shared. And we are the beneficiaries of that, but also the hosts of that. So there is this wonderful entanglement that we are contributing to. That's why this part of the galaxy at this time, and the people that are all waking up and playing their role are just so revered for this work.
Well, it's amazing because it's like an unwritten language. I mean, it's just like, I don't know how to explain it. It's an intuitive thing. There's no words for it. And people, that's what I'm seeing in people. They're just doing it. They're just, and it could be any aspect of their life, I don't know. It just seems like something has really, really shifted in the last couple of months. But I think you bring up a great point. I think it's important to go back to it, which is all the different variations that happen as a consequence of what is happening. Because what is happening to the biochemistry of our body, it affects us in so many different ways. And it's okay. And you can probably speak more to this than I can, but it's okay to be tired. It's okay to project one morning because you're depleted. It's okay, to be mentally break down. I mean, we've seen that happen. It's happened to all of us. And you've seen a lot of that extreme behavior and this and that. It's okay to get up the next day and push the reset button. It's okay. It's okay to be human, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yes.
And that's what you were talking about earlier, the effect that it has on us and in so many different ways, right?
Yeah, and this that's a great point that you make, because what scares a lot of people going through this process or just starting on this journey are the side effects of ascension or the side effects of waking up. And they think, am I going crazy? I'm not the same person. I'm losing relationships here. I'm losing steam. My life is not the same. It seems in ruin. But really what you're doing, the outerverse, is expressing itself and synchronizing itself to your inner changes. And so the inner changes where we can label things as depression or anxiety or stress or overwhelm, they are all functions of the same thing. They are releasing of chemicals that have kept us either in the past or either in the future and never in the now. Yeah. And so when we release those distortions, we come back into the eternal now. Everything freaking is available for us, everything. Yeah. And that's where we can change who we are right now. We can change any decision more confidently with more capacity and capability right now. Yeah.
And immediacy. because you brought up a great point. This stuff has to be released. And I know, man, for a long time, I mean, I released in a lot of different ways. And I'm not saying I'm not going to go back to that, but we can also program ourselves.
Yes.
We are the we're the IT guy. we're the programmer. And so as an example, I finally listened to Morgan after 3 years, and I said, because she'd always say, well, you can go through this with more ease and grace. I'm like, yeah. So then I started saying, I want to go through this with more ease and grace. And then I started to have all this purging go on for the last few weeks in lucid dream.
Yes.
And although it feels very real in the lucid dream, the emotions aren't, and I wake up. And I also get the message that you're purging. So it's like you said, it's all coming from the same place. It's all energy. Me in that lucid dream, programming myself to purge, not specifically, but just saying, this is the outcome I want. I deserve this. I love myself enough. I don't need to go through all the sacrifice, suffering, and pain. And I purge in the lucid dreams, and it's the same effect. And it's more ease and grace. It's more ease and grace.
And that is so powerful. That's the power of intention that, Dr. Wayne Dwyer and lots of people out there have been speaking about intention for years and years. But when you move back from first person, we're in it as a personality. So our personal reality is affecting our personality. So it's law of effect and cause rather than cause and effect. But when we step back and we place intent and intention upon what we wish to create and experience, because there's no separation. We create, we experience it. That's what's happening right now. And that's what you've said there. So, when I'm talking really quickly because lots of information wants to come in, and it's like this dualistic living, which is I need to process and clear before I can create. That is bullshit and is gone.
So yes, it is.
You can clear and create at the same time because you do the same thing. So you're intentionalizing of the best outcome, the ultimate reality, I call it. Writing new code. You're the writer of the code, and you're the code writer. So you write it into the fabric of the cosmos. Yeah. It by virtue of your clarity and intention, strong and purposeful, actually dissolves and unwinds any historical past or any tethers to trauma. So we don't need to go to the trauma and unhinge it and pick it and look at it through a microscope to feel validated or to feel heard. The quantum way is evolving so quick.
If it wasn't originated from pure love intention, it didn't even exist. It's literally you can seal the crack and move on. The story, it's not the same. It is quantum. And I think what you said is great about you don't have to do one to do the other. Morgan and I came from two different ends. She spent 15, 18 years doing intense shadow work, developing modalities, this and that. I just shine my light, very shadowed, shine my light. So I'm talking frequency here, not really about me and her, but so these two different methods, like everything, polarities merging in this experience we're having, and you get the best of both. And what I'm seeing now, and I've been trying to verbalize this, and you did it, is that, the shadow work is always the best place to go. I mean, or the shadow or the uncomfortableness or whatever it is, the trigger. There's gold there, but you don't have to stop there and take a beating. You can just say, and you jump right into it. And it seems like we're moving through this stuff quickly. And then the second part of it being using that force to go into the creative mode, the non-traditional 3D, the non-traditional mode and the 3D, and go into that creative mode with that energy of having just transformed. Now that's what you're saying. And I wish I would have said it. You did it right though. I'd be like the guy with the smiley face in the 60s with the yellow smiley face and had all that money.
You'd have the t-shirt, you'd have the badge.
But that's a great idea. I mean, not a great idea. That's a great point. Mm-hmm. It's a great point, because I just want to go back to it, because I really believe we went past some type of tipping point. We have the momentum, like we're going down a hill, like a snowball going down a hill. It's always in the universe. You got to stay on your game. Don't get me wrong, but it seems like we collectively have got to a point now where we can put more and more of our creative energy into into making a new world, a new life, and all that. And I see that happening with people, at a rapid pace.
And that's what I call the absolute. The absolute is you being monomaniacal, totally focused on the intent of what I call the Holy Seven. The bliss and love and wholeness and freedom and appreciation and gratitude and all those sort of things, joy. So when we become absolute on what we want to experience, meaning a life filled with joy, abundance, growth, vitality, ageless, timelessness, whatever it is, then the rest of the distractions fall away, because they no longer carry any weight. They no longer add density to our light body or to our physical biological body. In fact, through that process, we learn new things about ourselves. And as our sun starts to rise, the shadows have nowhere to hide. Some people may have heard me saying that before. So we must address them, but we address them from the Holy Seven, rather than going back into the fear, shame, and guilt that actually created the illusion of those, which has kept us in the past. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that reminds me. I hate to keep going back to Morgan, but you talk like Morgan. So for a long time, she would always tell me. She would always say, like if something came up, I'd be like, I get triggered or something. I'd say, what happened? And she'd say, that's perfect. That's beautiful. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? But the opportunity. And so one was the opportunity and saying, oh, I can get through this, I can get through this way, that way, this way, that way. And then it becomes, as soon as I get through this, I can get back to work, and something fantastic is going to happen. And the clarity of communication with the infinite is going to happen. And you end up being in, like in my case, you end up being in Sedona, Arizona, you go to Washington, D.C., you end up going to Hawaii. And it's just alignment. It's alignment. And it's incredible, because again, you don't read about it in the paper. You don't hear these things being featured. I'm not saying what we're doing but it is, because it's working for people with families, people that are single, traveling in the world. People that are having these incredible connections, be they romantic or not, at a 5D plus level. I mean, there's so many things happening.
It's huge. It's huge. I mean, for those that are still enjoy the logical process, that when the shadow comes up or something comes up, this is what I always advise, is use your infinite intelligence and your conscious abilities and apply that to the shadow. Let's say that the shadow is, I feel fear all of a sudden because I've just lost my job. Now, let's ask the fear of losing your job, or the fact that that's happened, why you exist. Now let's ask, what function do you play in my evolution? Now let's ask the function, and you see what I mean? We can go deeper, and we keep asking the question logically, but we do it with compassion and non-judgment. And as we ask the question, we arrive at a point of understanding as long as we trust it and not second nature ourselves. And we trust that and go, well, that came from somewhere. That clearly came from my higher mind, because I asked a clean question rather than a dirty question, which is, why does this shit always happen to me? You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's exactly right. That's a good point.
We can go there. We can go to the shadow and we can extract the wisdom rather than going into it. So then we can, that actually brings us online vibrationally, near instantaneously. It's awesome.
Yeah. And getting back to the I guess the pace of it. It's like, I mean, it's like what we're talking about right now. In 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, it's going to be like, we don't even remember it. Things are just moving that quickly, and I don't know. The other thing I see too is because of the fact that we're past this tipping point, at least by the way I look at it, collectively, we don't spend as much time in the shadows. And where are the shadows rooted? The shadows are rooted in the past. The shadows are rooted in the future, and it's like all that stuff's going away. So it's like we're being forced to the present. And at the same time, things are happening, like people will be put in your life, or everything seems to be more and more either synchronistic or falling into an original timeline. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah. And it's falling into a simplicity. A lot of my clients are saying the same thing. Like, I'm arriving at this point where I just feel in greater flow. I feel more at ease. I don't know how to explain it, but I just know that everything's going to be okay. Yeah. And it is invariably. Then they go, well, now that I've no longer divested or given away my power and my energy that you mentioned before to worry and concern and external things, now all of a sudden I'm available. I have energy available to move new information forward as a creative process, and have it manifest really, really quickly, because we're not operating inside of a time, a linear time model anymore. We're just not.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing. The manifestation thing. I mean, I know it's happening to me, and I know I'm not the only one, and I see it happening to other people. But and I got that message too when I got here. Actually, this happened this morning. I got, you're in a special place. It's like my friend told me, it's like one big crystal. Morgan had a vision of us standing on crystals here a few days ago. I mean, you can feel it, and what I heard was not so much like watch what you're thinking, but like, not that rigid. It was more like, if you think something, you better be careful about what you take forward, because you're in a place where it's going to go boom. Whatever you carry forward. And it really made me think. I thought, you know what? That's that type of clarity I hope to have all the time. And I think maybe that's what's happening to all of us. Maybe we're gaining more and more control over this gigantic and tremendous gift that we've been given and are, and we're starting to steer the ship.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thought now is merging with feeling to become a new word.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now we're, pure thought is creation. And so when we're beyond the astral plane, or even in the astral plane, as pure thought energy, you better be damn sure what you're thinking, or what the people next to you, the energies next to you, you know what I mean, creating the crappy stuff. But as we're upgrading our physical body and our neural pathways, with new processes, all of a sudden feeling becomes the ultimate language, because that's how life is birthed, through feeling. The thought intentionalizes something, the feeling matures it, as it were. So we'll become feeling-based, very feeling-based creators. Yeah.
That's a great point, and if you look at it being two different energies, that which is not pure love or truth, illusion, it's illusion, and that which is the truth, or whatever, we are becoming feeling, and that feeling is that intuitive feeling, and it feels it's always felt different, it's becoming more prominent. But that other type of feeling that we get confused with is the sadness and the anger and all those different things. which that's a great point what you bring up, because the feeling you're talking about is that part of it is all fading away. You know, it's fading slowly away. So we're like stepping into this place where you're right. These feelings are extremely powerful, but it also gives you respect for the spiritual force that the old emotions created too, because we can see what it did.
Yeah, and that's why, you know, when we're often reminded through our external world, you know, that we think, okay, we've got it right. I've shed some density. I'm no longer triggered by that. And then all of a sudden someone pops around, hello, you know, pick some of the up, that sort of thing. And then you're triggered and say, why, after doing all this work on myself, has that person appeared in my reality? Because there's a shard of density remaining within you. So the gift is that it's been brought to your awareness, because no one really exists outside of us. You're me, I'm you, and everyone else watching this. We're all part of the same crystalline intelligence. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, you're right. And sometimes, and you know, maybe more so now, those things do happen. It's kind of like one last look, like, hey, I just want to. I'm leaving now. See you later, and then you can laugh about it.
Yeah, just to check.
But that's true. And then I look at it too, like, you know, I'm only going to be Todd one time. You know, that's the only thing I know that I have that's guaranteed is me. And you know, the more I give into this invisible part of me or whatever it is, I never, you know, let run the ship, the more powerful this trip's becoming.
Yes.
So, and then I think what you said too about the whole neuro being there, you know, micro to macro, that neuro also runs between all of us.
Yes.
And that's that rapid supersonic quantum evolution that's occurring. And I don't care what anybody says. They talk 2020, 2048, 20 this, 20. I'm like, you know, 20 minutes. You know what I mean? 20 days.
You're right there, absolutely there. And it's worth remembering, you know, I was walking along doing meditation on the beach with my wife last week, and the sun was just about to set. There was this beautiful crimson light in the sky, and I was watching your sunrise in Hawaii, your first one, and it reminded me of that. But what came, there was hardly anyone around. I think we were the only two, maybe three people, including us, on there. And it just struck me from that state of all connectedness, that unified field. That's what we're emerging back with, the unified field, is I placed myself here on this beach, in this reality, to do what I'm here to do. I placed myself here.
That's right.
And so in that moment, we don't beat ourselves up. We go, well, there is so much available to us.
Yeah.
So much available to us when we realize that we're not stuck here. The illusion is that we are trapped in the body. No, the five senses gives us the illusion that this is all that exists. But as you know, Todd, you know, that beyond the body is the real life. That's the real life. So we are in multiple planes, having multiple experiences right now. So choose your reality wisely.
Yeah.
Choose it wisely. Don't meander with your thoughts and become lazy with your mood and with your language, because it's not going to serve you, you know.
And I think also detaching is becoming a word that carries more and more meaning and more power. And that's part of it too, I think, is listening to yourself. And there's a lot of people, as this energy, it's like you know, the universal pure love energy will not allow anything to stand one way or the other. You know, you're going to be moved out of anything that's not in balance, really.
Yes. So, and look, you know, coming back to the 5D neurology, just to be a bit of a stickler for that, as we, like, 5D is pure trust. trust in ourselves, trust in the divine, trust in our cosmic connections. So just as you said there, why worry that there's going to be an earthquake? I was lying in bed in Bali, 2:00 in the morning, and the 6.4 was 50 kilometers away. It was the biggest shake I've experienced in a long time. And I thought, whoa, that's to wake up so we can have a conversation, right? And so, so don't worry about the world events. Neurologically, as you bring more light and information into your physicality and into your field, as you drop density as well, then new information places you exactly where you need to be to affect and complete your divine mission. You're not going to be taken out prematurely, so don't waste your energy worrying about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And really, I mean, this happened to me today too. Zavetta Da Vinci, my sister, I think a lot of people know her son, Christian, transitioned, as we referred to it, 6 months ago. And so she gave me some of his ashes to bring over here to Hawaii. And so I had a little encounter with him today. And it's not the first one, but what I was receiving from the Universal with the face of Christian was that part of, it's not real. That's like the last gate. Death is not real. And the more people that are interacting with what is real, the more it's going to appear. And there's people all over the world having an increase in what we would call supernatural experiences, paranormal, all that stuff, me included. And so that's fascinating to me that we, we're moving that rapidly, and that these modalities that we've had, all these different ways that we've had, they're like, they're just like way back there now. It's just, the shadow and the creative force. It's like the shadow is the fuel, and then it lights the fire, and then the creative force. And it's like we're becoming this multi skill, ability, dimensional being. But at the same time, it's like getting simple.
Yes. Simple. You will be led to your grandest intention, your intention to experience life in peace or in joy or in divine love. You are going to arrive exactly where you need to be to influence that and to share that. Yeah. And I love that. Like, the veil is actually well and truly lifted. And so as our frequency starts to rise, then, other dimensions are moving into alignment with ours, because we were too ignorant and too dense and too low in vibration to really lift the veil fully and keep it up. Yeah. So we have a lot of information available to us by our cosmic sisters and everything,
Well, and I watch the human behavior. That's what we're doing. We're watching our own behavior, watching our own feelings, and I watch with other people and with the work I do, and I'm seeing the more and more clearly the two energies. The one energy is very obvious to see. The other energy, no matter how high vibrational that we might think they are, okay, I see these absolutes that they're throwing down. Well, it's got to be this way, and it's got to be that way, and it's got to be and I'm thinking, oh no, I've had my butt kicked too many times, and that to me is a shadow.
Yes.
And I see that as a gift. So when I say, oh, it's got to be this way, and the universe is like, oh, really? Well, if you think so, let's have a talk. I'm like, no. Let me stay in this flow, and I'll be open.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Because reality, the higher realities are not materialistic. So they don't go for objects and things. So it's not the nouns, the person, place, animal, or thing. We like to hold on to those as knowns and make sense of them by our five senses. But as you said, as soon as we fixate on a specific outcome or an absolute, meaning that that's the only thing that can happen for me to feel happy or joy or enlightened, you've lost the plot. You're going to get a can of whip ass for sure.
That's what we say in Texas.
That's right. I think I did get it from you. So goodbye.
So and so like going back to the, if you look at the power, that was in power, whatever you want to call it. I mean, just take it to the fourth dimension, take it to the archons. It was written in the Nag Hammadi. We know that was the soldier or whatever. That energy could not create anything. It could only distort.
Yes.
And so think about the power of that, whatever it might have been, 1%, whatever you want to call it. Think about the power of that it had over us, and think about the fact that we can create and live in that dimension and control and manifest and project and create with energy. I mean, we're energy beings. They were some type of energy that could not create, could only distort and lie and cheat and this and that. And the flip side is we can actually use this pure love and create universes, man. I mean, that's the way I'm seeing it. It's like
absolutely, because as I say to some of my guys too, is we spend all our time going outside to find the answers. Every universe, the entire multiverse is inside of you. That's the portal. Your heart is your gateway. That's the center. That's where 5D lives, because 5D is a vibration. It's a state of being. It's not a place you go to for cups of coffee at the edge of the cosmos. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's.
I love that. Yeah,
but it's. I mean, that you're right, and because again, we have gone off in so many. I'm looking at that tree today, and it's like, show me. Look at all these branches. Look at all these stems. These are all aspects of what was here. The trunk. Yes. And you're one of those aspects that got lost and thought it was just that aspect. And so you're pulling all that infinite power and courage and love and creative ability from in your awareness, your growing awareness that you are the entire tree. And I'm like, whoa. I mean, you talk about flower of life. I mean, I don't put anything outside the realm of possibility by any human hybrid soul in this world.
Good.
None. I mean, absolutely. If I see somebody flying through the sky in a red cape, I'm going to be like, "Hey, I knew that was going to happen."
Yeah, that's right.
And when it does, there'll be another one the next day and another one the next day, and that's the energy that we're talking about. But it's not this physical 3D timeline, literal thing. It's this quantum thing that's like you were saying at the top of the show. The brain is being wired to handle.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And I, with regards to the red cape flying through the air, I'm not sure if people are aware of the Roger Bannister metaphor. He was the first to hit the 4-minute mile. After that, everyone knew it was possible. So we are leaving the third dimension of heavy belief structures. We are now transcending belief and faith and stop living in hope, which is why the religions and other institutions are starting to unwind, because we're waking up to truth, which is beyond belief, which is above faith and hope. Truth is a higher available source. So as one person wakes up, it triggers thousands more to wake up, not just one more person in your family.
That's right. That's exactly right. And that makes it easy. That makes it easy. And I see that too. I see, like, over 7 years, I see people popping in that have beliefs, because I've known them for a long time. But what it tells me is not that they believe me or believe you, if you're on the show that they pop in on. It's that they're open to the fact that there's more than the absolutes that were laid down on them, that they bought as God-given and never going to change, and which is just another way of save me and protect me.
Yeah.
I'll be a good boy, and so I can go to heaven. when we should have been told, go into hell, because if you go into hell, you'll get to heaven a lot quicker.
Exactly. Yeah.
Don't run from it. Don't run from it. Yeah, run through it. Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree.
So what are you getting into now? I mean, I know you have a website. I know you went to to Bali, and you came out of there making some videos. I think you had said something about a course. Is there a course that you're doing?
Yes, yeah. I've got a mastermind called Zero Limits. So that's really 3 hemispheres come together, which is quantum physics, neuroscience, and mysticism, and that they've been my passion for 25 years. So I brought those together, inspired by many hours of client work and other mentors that I've had over the years as well. And really, it's now, as you said earlier, Toddy, we are evolving so quickly. I really want to be conscious of how quickly we're evolving, not because I fear anything, because I want to enjoy the process and the evolutionary journey, rather than looking back in retrospect and going, there was a lot of shit and ground that we covered there. I wish I had I had
smell the roses
to enjoy it, along the way. So
smell the metal burning out of our bodies when we're burnt. DNA was burning. But that's a great point. You've been a practitioner for a long time, right? I mean, you're a teacher. Well, a lot more than that. I'm just saying, but you do classes, but you also do one-on-ones, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm getting at is, as a practitioner, I've never asked anyone this question, but I don't know what's happening here. Are we going to, as a client, am I going to just in time just walk into a room with you and align with where you're at on this certain frequency that we've identified as I'm unbalanced, or you know what I mean? It's like, Are we just going to sit in a room and look at each other? I mean, seriously, I mean, it's amazing, like what you said about when a person breaks through, it affects thousands. Well, I mean, energy's energy. Person liberates themselves.
Yes. What a profound question. The most profound question I've heard in a long time. That is where I definitely feel we're going. So, you can do distance healing. Do you need to be there? Because in the unified field, you are non-local. You are everywhere. So, the human touch is still really important for our biology and to feel that love. But healing is changing. Transformation is changing, because when you set a vibrational signature and someone comes in and is introduced to that vibrational field, by nature, they are going to align with it. Absolutely. Unconsciously or subconsciously, people have been doing it for eternity, which is why the archons and the other, control systems knew that, so that they would keep, the towers and keep everything humming in a certain field. But that is where we're moving to, that you are vibrating.
And more importantly, and I just want to point this out because of the context of the discussion, more important than the GMOs, the fluoride, the tower, everything was the most important part was the power of suggestion.
Yes.
Hey, if you do this, so it's fear-based programming. Cut to the chase more than anything. So take the most powerful component they have and take over it, which is basically what you teach and what you do, which is to program ourselves.
The subconscious, we have, our body is our subconscious mind. So when we can wake up the body and be alert and aware of our thoughts and our emotions and the decisions that we make on a daily basis based on those, then our body comes online, because our brain and our mind takes on new information that has not been made available because we're still being trapped in survival and pointing the finger at other people. But from a healing perspective, it transcends the body, environment, and time. So you and I, we're healing each other and the world right now. Everyone else on this call, everyone not even listening to it right now, but may listen to it in 3 years' time, is healing now, and vice versa. The past is healing the future, because it's once you can drop the brain, that the old brain and the old linear way of thinking, that everything is now. So why would I ever invest in another thought or feeling that is not what I want now?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. So this is good. This hour went by quick. So
It did.
what? So where are you headed to? What do you have coming up? What are you working on? Where can people find you?
Well, people can personal message me if they want to know more information about what I do. The Zero Limits Mastermind, you can go to matthewpatti.com. So MATTHEWPATTI.com. You'll find some information there. If you want to just have a conversation about where you are, where you are going, just reach out to me. I'm always very available for that reason, because, you know, we're all in it together. I'd like to be doing more retreats in 2019 with people like you, Todd, and so that we can bring these hemispheres and this parabolic consciousness, like we're just evolving so quickly together, and from a network point perspective, but also from, I guess, a quickening, because we don't have to do much. We just need to be prepared to show up and be available. But I'd love that opportunity to maybe in Bali, whether it's in Hawaii, whether it's in Australia or the US.
They won't let me out of the US right now, so it has to be in the US. But if it's gonna be in the US, we do it in Hawaii.
We'll come to you.
But but you know, that's a good point. That's what we're working on. You're a part of it, and many people are a part of it. Part of putting this channel out, the first channel in the network. Beneath it on that page will be a virtual and visual directory of people such as yourself, and people will be able to click on that, watch videos, look at a directory of what they do, their links, whatever they want to do. And so I'm glad that you're part of the first wave of this. We're bringing it together, and I definitely am very, very interested in doing local retreats and get-togethers, festivals, expos. I think that's a new part of what's happening now. I think that that's going to be happening more and more and more. And I've seen the power of it on my journey over the last couple of years, when people come together in that space. And no matter what happens on the superficial with the humans, you know, drama, no drama, whatever, peace, love, whatever, there is something that happens when the coordinates of those souls come together.
Yeah. So I do love that. I do love that.
With the right intention. Yeah. All right, man.
I'm here to support you in any and all ways I can. I know you're a very busy man, and you do a phenomenal job holding up a huge network. And you have our love and absolute honor. Yeah.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. We got more help coming, and you're on board. So I'll be in touch. 11/11 is going to come pretty soon. It's going to be in 10 days. So
good man.
Yeah, I need to. I'll be reaching out to you in the next day or two.
Thank you. Yeah, let's
follow
talk
up on that. Okay, man.
Good man.
I'll tell you. See y'all later.